Hello, John Dilworth here, Sunday with Dilly. And it is and it is Sunday, finally. Etrembières. It's in France, border of Switzerland, just outside Geneva. It's the end of a short tour that I've been on, being celebrated with my films Courage and Howl and Chicken from Outer Space and Dirty Birdie. And this is an animation talk. But mostly it's just me walking this mountain, burning off breakfast. Or as the French say, le petit déjeuner. Yeah, I was just thinking about this lust for art, which is a disguise, I think. We have to know ourselves. What is it really? You know, of course I admit to a lust for fame, a lust for success. And the only way to measure these things materially is by our mortal gods, you know, and all of their loot and boon and their celebration and their propaganda. And that's our measurement. And I found that to be unsatisfactory myself. I think for me, as an artist, is to have freedom. And there's always sacrifice to that. I mean, tell me how we are to pay our Netflix subscription and our what is it, smart everything subscription. We pay to live. Right, okay, so let's not be melancholic. The reality is we are animals of pleasure. And who wants to be inconvenienced? The big meme, convenience, and safety, and it's quicker. You know, it's just a funny period. But all periods are funny. How do we capture it? What do we do with it? How does it make us human? More human? What is human? It's just constant questions. I don't know if they even should be answered or even asked. It's better to just, right, you know, party and have fun and then perhaps see a psychiatrist. But it's absolutely beautiful. As you know, if you ever go to the moon, you see some amazing things. And they're really, how do you explain them? The thing is, what I've learned, there is no meaning. We give things meaning. And that's part of the convenience of time. That those who come before us claim this means this and that and the other thing. And it's so much more convenient to just repeat it. Because the thing is, what is it? How do we care for others? How do we care for ourselves? And the things we care about, and I hope it's art and animation, it's particular to me. When a little bit of business gets over particularly well, I'm ecstatic. I remind myself of some little puppy that just had a wonderful evacuation and now has to run around. That's exactly it. And that hasn't left me. The very first experience I had of my animation as a pup myself in university was this ecstatic, arresting moment to see my animation move, my drawings move. I mean, of course, watching animation by others is equally as exciting. But to do it ourselves, to do it myself, to see it, well, I don't know what that is. It's the reassurance of control. Of control of what? Yeah. And why the control? It's in our hands, particularly, how things move. And how those things that we move others. And I was thinking just today on another part of this mountain. I am guilty of reducing my art through my lust. And I think that's poor nurturing. Yeah. Got the wrong idea. And probably came from television. And probably came from the propaganda of the mighties to instill in us an awesomeness of their work, right? Be like us or be nowhere. Believing the illusion, right? The illusion of life. I think those boys had it right. The illusion of life. But not life that's, well, homogenized, right? There's a particular style, and that style is developed in a kind of mesmerization to predict future outcomes. You know, and if we were big studio chiefs, interested, of course, in the bottom line, the upper line, the middle line, all lines that return to the banks, we would want product that mesmerizes and develop a, what is it called? A following. Animated films now, or I can't say they're animated, they're machine-made films. Billions of dollars! There's been a question recently I've understood going around about the immorality of having billions, earning billions, and what that really implies. And what do you do with those billions? Well, we don't have to be psychologists, but we could think about animated characters, or characters. If you had billions and you made the right friends who also have billions, what won't you do? I mean, does one develop a sense of awesomeness, right? This idea of being a god, with a small g, of course. The gods of our ancients. What I loved about Prometheus, the Prometheus legend, not only his sacrifice for humanity, because he was half human, as you know. You know, bringing enlightenment, that's one thing. But I have recently learned, among other things, he saved humanity from the knowledge of their own death. He took that away. But nobody speaks of that. You know, you think of your pet, your little foo-foo or fifi, and when a time comes, they have a premonition of their end, and they disappear. They go into the darkness and lay there, don't want to be bothered, and they expire. They have a knowledge. Prometheus did not extend that grace to Fufu and Fifi. That's admirable. That's the work for others. For others. I suppose as I consider this with you, that it really doesn't matter, right? Meaning. What's the meaning of life? Well, what's the meaning of your life? Do we even require one? What about our petty jealousies? I'm filled with these things, these unappealing qualities. There's a certain usurper of my work that just torments me. It's my own vulture eating out my liver every day, just like Prometheus. Or that other wonderful invention, Sisyphus. I mean, they're so popular now. I mean, they should be, as examples of our own self-torture. And Sisyphus, well, I hope you're drawing. I encourage you to draw while you listen to me ramble. But this is things to consider. Let's consider. Perhaps just you and I were having a chat. We're walking in the woods. We can look at it that way, so you don't completely lose your mind and get to the point, Dilworth. Sisyphus, what would compel him to keep rolling that boulder uphill, even with the knowledge that it's going to roll back down and he has to do this again? Have we not known people who are obsessed, driven to repeat tasks that you see bring no fruit? It's all internal. There has to be something else. I was reading an essay by Albert Camus, and it was on this Sisyphus legend, and he tended to look at this impossible, repetitive, punishing behavior if he is so doomed in his life thus, right? To realize that there is a moment of pause and look forward to that. When just before he starts his campaign uphill again, he could rest. And do we need this? I mean, maybe perhaps this is something to analyze. If your apparatchik fails you, don't you take it to a repair shop? Right? If your Game Boy, or I have such contempt for I have such contempt for this. Well, this is my Game Boy, you know? Look at it. I love this. And then someone else loves something else, right? Okay. So this is me being me. I suppose the premise of this diatribe is to challenge us, or challenge myself, let's say, right? Because it's just you and me talking. To consider ourselves in context to something much bigger than ourselves, even others. I saw a piece of graffiti on this trail further up. It was like a skateboarder character, liked the style, I did. And his face was very dour. And in a word balloon, it says, "I love my family." Yeah, it's just a tough road. I encourage bravery. And if we can, a pause before we haul that stone back up to consider that little bit of life that could make the difference between not winning a friendship, winning a dispute, winning a bit of horror when the light fades. It's just too crazy. I don't even know how to do it. I just find myself resisting so much. My Buddhist friends, they have all sorts of doctrines in which to explain the conflict. Look at the sun's coming out now. Well, we'll see if any of this makes sense when we get down to the final few meters here. We don't want to suffer. Wipe up, earthquake. We don't want to suffer, personally. But why should we endure the suffering of others? Because it's a mystery to me. There's so much beauty. Why do you want to own it and control it? Well, that's the question I started this debate with. Meaning. So there are some few, those billionaires, those billions and billions and trillions and who knows what they are, that are deciding how we to live. Well, I think that if you just leave me alone, I will learn to live on my own, by my own virtues. And I think the world will be a better place. And really, I would pick up a stone now and then, feel it, instead of a synthetic plastic technology that's slowly and slowly and slowly, but surely, fading the light. Stay animated.